All right, Your Honor, we're ready.
All right, Deputy, can you hear me?
Your Honor, we're ready.
I think you're on mute. I don't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor, we're ready.
Okay, great. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is April 1st of 2023. This is first appearance before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. Again, good morning. My name is Associate Judge Marcus Thorpe. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to speak to you a little bit here this morning before we get started and go over a couple of things that I want to make sure that you remember. First and foremost, please understand that this is your first appearance. This is where I'm going to advise you of what you've been charged with and the bond amount that is currently set based on the magistrate court here this morning. We are not here to try your case. And what I mean by that, you are not here to give me information about whether you are guilty or not guilty, information that may help or hurt you, because ultimately it may hurt you. There are several people obviously around you who may become witnesses based on the things you say. So I want to urge you, please do not provide information to me about your case, other than if it is asking me about bond, how to make bond, or whether you are entitled to bond or special conditions. So again, you are here for the court to inform you of your charges and your rights and to set bail only. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you have the right to remain silent and say nothing. But should you give up this right during this hearing this morning, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial. During this and all other proceedings, you have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to an indictment by the grand jury for some felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and cross-examine witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena, the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so. But should you choose not to, no presumption of your guilt may be raised. And then finally, you have the right to an attorney to represent you. Now, for those of you who will be allowed to post bond this morning on what are called unrestricted bonds, you will be released from jail pending prosecution of your case. Now, there are three ways that you can make bond, whether it's today or before your next court date. That's either through cash, which of course is simply paying, the total amount. Commercial, which will be the use of a bonding company, in which case you would only have to typically either you or someone on your behalf put up 10 to 15% of your bond, or by property. And by property, that would be either the use of your or someone else's home as collateral. So essentially, you'd have to get a copy of the deed to whatever property you want to use. It would have to be turned over to the sheriff's office in lieu of your bail. But there has to be a certain amount of what is called equity, which is typically 3 times the amount of your bond. And so if your bond is $2,000, you got to find a property that would have to have at least $6,000 in equity in order to use your property. If you're using a bonding company, if your bond is roughly $2,000, again, you would have to pay between 10 to 15% of that bond to use the company. So that means you'd pay between about $200 to $350. That money does not come back to you, and then the bonding company will assist you. Now, some of you will have special conditions on your bond here today that prohibit you from contacting other people. Please, by all means, please, when you hear me advise you of what those special conditions are, abide by them if and when you make your bond. Failure to do so can subject you to additional charges. So, for example, there may be people here charged with some sort of family violence or an assault or attack on some other person, and in which case, you may have a special condition that prohibits you from going to the place where the incident allegedly happened or from having contact with that person. If I tell you so, again, please, no contact, whether that's by telephone, by email, through a third party, or in person, because again, that can subject you to stalking and or additional charges as well. let me also make one other point. If I give you a special condition that requires you to stay away from somebody in particular, that person cannot make your bail for you. They can't come and post bond. And so again, if there's an allegation that you were in assault with a family member, girlfriend, boyfriend, cousin, that person cannot be of assistance to you to make your bond. Now, ladies and gentlemen, some of you are charged with offenses for which I am not authorized to set bail. In the event that is the case, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a Superior Court judge, and you will be informed of your bond at that date. If there's anyone here who is currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set a bond. Your bond, however, can be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for violation of your probation, usually during your preliminary hearing. Now, again, the purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained until such time as your case goes to trial. Now, for those of you all who are charged with felonies, I will give you your next court date during the course of these proceedings today, which will be your probable cause here, your preliminary hearing. For those of you who are charged with misdemeanors, you will have an option. You can either, one, say, yes, I would like to have my preliminary hearing, which means you'll have an upcoming court date where the police officer will have to show, and he'll have to advise you or advise the court what evidence he has against you. But you have a second option if you're charged with a misdemeanor. If you don't want to have that hearing and you'd rather go ahead and be charged, you can tell me, Judge, I'd like to waive my preliminary hearing, or simply I'd like to waive. Now, if you post your bond and you tell me today, I don't want to waive, I want my hearing, your hearing is automatically waived. And if that in fact happens and you post bond, not only is your hearing waived, but of course you don't have a new court date. And so please be on the lookout for that new court date in the last known address that the sheriff's office has for you. So when you were arrested, they either looked at your license or you gave them verbally an address. Please check that address, check that mail, so that if you make bond at any point before your hearings or your next hearings happen, that's where your court date will be provided to you. Now, what I'd like to do is, of course, I'm going to begin with the women who are, of course, here at the front, and then we will make our way to the men. First up, I have is it Kewan Clark? Or is it a Mr. Kewan? Is that a male?
Yes, that's a male, Your Honor. Let me.
Okay, mine was showing otherwise. Okay, so first I think I have then Yvette Dowdell.
Your Honor, let me place the females in order real quick.
Okay.
First female, that's Dawn Well.
Yes.
Are you Ms. Dowdell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, Ms. Dowdell. Ms. Dowdell, you are charged with 1 count of forgery in the 4th degree. Your bond amount here today is going to be in the amount of $2,000, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir. ASAP. As soon as possible.
Okay. Oh. And you said yes, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on the information that I have here in front of me, looks like you are working, is that correct?
Sure.
And you're earning about $2,000 a month, is that also correct? Sure. Okay, so do you intend to hire your own attorney, or would you like the court to appoint you one?
I can get a court appointed attorney because it's beatable. I was a victim of identity theft.
Oh, okay, remember again, ma'am, you don't want to disclose that kind of information to me. Not only are other people around, but this is also being live recorded. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning. Now, as far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have your hearing or waive that hearing?
I can waive it, sir.
All right, so what's going to happen then, Ms. Dowdell, they will have some paperwork that they're going to want to have you sign later on representing that you wanted to waive that hearing, okay? All right, could you hear me, Ms. Dowdell?
Yes, I said yes, sir.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Do you have any other questions for me, Ms. Dowdell?
No, sir, I don't.
All right, I believe that's all I have for you then, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
So you're waiting.
Next up, I believe I have Ms. Kiera. Is it Kiera George?
Yes, sir.
Kiera Georgia, is that correct?
That's George.
Oh, George. Okay, Ms. Georgia, I hear that you're charged with one count of simple battery. Your bond is in the amount of $2,500. Now, you do have special conditions. The warrant is alleging that you were involved in a disagreement with somebody by the name of Devin Few. So at this point, I am going to impose a stay away from Mr. Few, and also that you're stay away from the address of 7147 Mount Zion Circle. Now, if that's where you reside, ma'am, you can, along with the sheriff's office, you'd have to get their help, go down and they can assist you in getting any items that you may have there until such time as either this case is resolved or your bond is modified, okay?
Okay.
All right, now let me ask you one last thing, Ms. Few. Well, a couple of things. You are not working, is that correct?
No.
Do you believe you'll be able to make this bond of $2,500?
Yes.
Okay. So based on what you told me, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. And then as to your preliminary hearing, since you were charged with misdemeanors, would you like to have your hearing or waive your hearing?
I would like to waive it.
All right, so I will go ahead and do that, ma'am. So remember, if you make bond on your case, that you will have to keep in touch with your mail, keep in touch with the courts to make sure that you get your next court date. Otherwise, of course, you don't want to miss out on that date and something happen, okay? As other than that, Ms. Georgia, Ms. George, do you have any other questions for me?
No, sir.
Right, ma'am. Well, I believe that's all I have for you, and good luck to you. All right, give me one moment, ma'am. All right, and are you Miss Maddox? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Maddox, I have you charged with one count of improper lane change and one count of also driving with a suspended license. The bond amount for the improper lane change is $500. For the driving with a suspended license, it's $1,500 for a total bond of $2,000, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
My mom paid it at 3:45 this morning.
Okay, so you should be on your way out of here. Are you working right now?
No, not currently.
Okay. So right now, at least for today, I'm going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. And as far as your preliminary hearing, ma'am, you are charged with 2 misdemeanors. Would you like to have it or waive it?
I'll waive it.
Okay. So I am notating that you are waiving your hearing. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
Sir, thank you.
All right, ma'am. I believe that's all I have for you. Good luck to you. And are you Miss Murphy?
Yes, sir.
Miss Murphy, I have you charged with one count of theft by conversion. Your bond is in the amount of $5,000. I do have a special condition here for you to stay away from 7307 State Highway 85, where this was alleged to have occurred, this conversion of a rental agreement. First, let me ask you, do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And you're making about $900 a month, is that correct? Is that correct, ma'am? Is that yes?
No, that's incorrect. I'm sorry. I think I did that wrong on that paper.
Okay, how much are you making per month?
So I'll say about 1,600.
Okay. So based on that, ma'am, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney at this point. As far as your preliminary hearing, you are charged with the one count of theft by conversion, which in your situation is a yours is a felony. So you will have a preliminary hearing coming up. Your next court date, ma'am, should you not make bond, is going to be April 24th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that? ma'am?
I understand that.
Okay, so again, that's gonna be April 24th, 8:30 a.m. And that's gonna be via Zoom, should you fail to make bond. If you don't have any other questions for me, Ms. Murphy, I believe that's all I have for you, ma'am. Good luck to you. Next up, I believe this is Miss Julie Northrop.
Yes.
All right, good morning, Miss Northrop.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you're charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond is in the amount of $2,000. You do have a special condition, and that's to stay away from the Atlanta Airport, Hartsfield Airport, unless you are there for business and or travel. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
As far as I see you are working, what type of work do you do, ma'am?
I'm a bartender.
Okay, and so it does fluctuate from time to time? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
So based on that, Ms. Northrop, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you court-appointed attorney here for today, that will be able to assist you on your case. Now, you are charged with a misdemeanor, so you have the option to either have or waive your hearing. What would you like to do, ma'am?
I'd like to have my hearing.
All right. So your hearing, ma'am. Give me one. Here, I just want to confirm your date for you. Yes, ma'am. So, Ms. Northrop, your hearing date is going to be the 25th of this month, the 25th of April. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. So again, remember, as I said earlier, if in fact you ultimately do make this bond, you will, of course, not have the preliminary court hearing date. And so what'll have to happen then is you'll have to make sure that your last known address, you keep up with that address, make sure that you're watching the mail, because that's where you'll be notified of what your next court date is, okay?
Thank you.
All right, ma'am, thank you, and you have a good day and good luck to you. Next up, I have Ms. Julie Prater. Good morning, Ms. Prater. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Prater, you are charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond is in the amount of $2,000. You do have a special condition, and that's to stay away from the incident location of 6295 Holiday Boulevard, where this is alleged to have happened. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Not even the address, and no, I don't have any money. I don't have no money. They said 2 days I'll be able to leave.
Okay.
They told me,
So based on that, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning. As far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have your hearing or waive it?
well, they said that I'd be here 48 hours when I got here and I get to go.
I can't advise you of that. Right now, I'm just here with your charges, so I can't really say what you've been told, Ms. Prater, but I can only ask, as far as your hearing, would you like to have your hearing set, or would you like to waive your right to it?
I want to waive it.
Okay, so I am gonna, go ahead, Ms. Prater.
I don't want no hearing, and I don't got no money. I just sit here.
Okay, so when your attorney is appointed, ma'am, on this case, please, speak to them about some of those concerns that you have.
I don't need an attorney.
Well, okay, and I understand that, but as far as today, I've gone ahead and appointed you one, for at least to protect your rights, okay?
Well, I've never had any, so I don't expect to ever start any.
And again, I completely understand that, but at least, for no other reason, I'm gonna have someone talk to you, and if ultimately you decide you don't need one, Ms. Prater, obviously you have that right, okay? All right, ma'am, I believe that's all I have for you, ma'am, so good luck to you.
So I get out tomorrow?
I'm sorry?
I get out tomorrow, right?
I can't, again, I can't comment on that. I'm not sure who told you that or why they told you that, so I don't really have any control over that, to be honest with you. That's not a part of what I have today, okay? All right, next up I have Miss Margarita, I believe it's Quiones.
Yes, sir.
Are you Miss Quiones?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Quiones, you're charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
No, sir.
I see you are not working, so I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney, at least for the purposes of today. As far as your next court date, ma'am, because you are charged with a felony, your next court date is going to be April 24th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that's gonna be April 24th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, unless you have any questions for me, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you. Next up, I have Miss Kalia Wright. Are you Miss Wright? Miss Wright, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass for a bond amount in the amount of $1,500, disorderly conduct, $1,500, and finally obstruction of an officer for $2,000 for a total bond of $5,000, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make your bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And I see you are currently working. However, you're earning about $900 a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning. You're charged with all misdemeanors. So as far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have it or waive it?
Happy.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and your hearing is going to be set for April 25th. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m.
You said June 25th?
No, ma'am, April 25th. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Okay. So again, remember, if you make your bond between now and then, keep lookout for in your mail, so you'll know what your new court date's going to be. If in fact that you don't make bond, then when you speak to your lawyer, he'll go over what that next court date's going to be like on that preliminary hearing on the 24th, on the 25th, okay?
Okay, and I did have one more question, Your Honor. The address that's on my ID is not my current address, and that's why I think it's the court date in the past. So can I update my court date? Because I have called and told someone the court about the address change and everything, and it's still the same address.
So I would let the sheriff's office know at some point before you're released, and let your attorney know as well to make sure that it's corrected, okay?
How much, Your Honor?
All right, ma'am. Good luck to you, Ms. Wright. Thank you. All right, first up, I have Mr. Carl Anthony Brown. Are you Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown, you are charged with 2 counts of terroristic threat and 1 count of harassing phone calls. For the first count of terroristic threat, you have a bond in the amount of $7,500. For the second, you have the same. And for the count of harassing phone calls, you have a bond amount of $2,000. Your total bond is $17,000. You do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Ms. Vielka Shepard, to also stay away from the address of 450 Cameo Drive in Riverdale. If that's where you reside, sir, please, as a result of this condition, do not return to that address. So if you've got items there, please contact the sheriff's office if and when you make bond, and they will assist you in getting any items that belong to you out of that residence. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. What's the percentage of that for the payment?
So you're looking at about 17,000. So you're looking at about 2,500 or so, 2,500 to 3,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, because you are charged with 2 counts of felonies, you will have a preliminary hearing court date, and that's going to be April 24th, 2023, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Okay, so that's going to be your next court date. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Well, unless you have any questions for me, I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Clark. 1 second, Mr. Clark. Hold on 1 second. Excuse me, Mr. Brown. I'm sorry, Mr. Brown. I just want to look at one thing. Okay, you're good to go, Mr. Brown. You're good to go. Thank you, sir.
And the one that's open 6. Come on.
I have next, I believe, Darius. Is it Chopin? Chopin?
No, it's Cardenas, Marco Cardenas.
Oh, you got, actually, let me see here about Mr. Cardenas. I believe I had him. I wanted to discuss with his last.
Okay, you want him last?
Yeah, I gotta have him last before we do the fugitives, if that's okay.
that's fine. I got Clark. Come on, Clark. Let's go back inside the cell. See the person.
All right, are you Mr. Kewan Clark?
Yes, sir. I'm K-Twan Clark.
Excuse me, Katon Clark. And Mr. Clark, I have here that you've served in the military.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Clark, what's going to happen as a result of that? Rather than give you bond here today, you're going to be referred to what we have here in Clayton County called the Veterans Court. And they're going to go over some things with you. It's a special program that we have set up that will hopefully help resolve whatever alleged issues you may have so that we can assist you as a county in getting you back on your feet, okay?
Yes, sir.
And so be on the lookout for someone to reach out to you, and they're going to discuss with you how you'll proceed moving forward, okay?
Okay.
All right, any questions for me otherwise?
So basically, you're saying I would just have help from
They're gonna come over and speak with you in the next day. And then they'll be able to help you with bond, explain to you the program and explain to you how everything's gonna go moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
And I believe next I have Mr. Darius Chopin.
Yes, Your Honor. Look, come on. Clark.
Are you Mr. Chopin, Darius Chopin?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Chopin, you're charged with 1 count of entering automobile, 1 count of criminal trespass, and 1 count of obstruction of an officer. Mr. Chopin, I'm showing that you're currently on probation out of Rockdale County. And so as to the entering auto, I am not authorized to grant you bond on that charge. As to the criminal trespass, you have a bond amount of $2,000. And as to the obstruction of an officer, you have a bond amount of $2,000 for a total of $4,000 on those 2 charges. Should you be granted a bond at a later date on the entering auto, you do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the alleged incident location of 5640 Reynolds Road at some point if you are released. You understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now because you are charged with felonies here, you are going to have a preliminary hearing court date coming up, and that's going to be April 24th of 2023, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir? Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. I've been charged with 2 misdemeanors and felony.
Yes, 1 felony, 2 misdemeanors. Yes, sir.
All right, gotcha. Yes, sir.
Now, I understand here that you're working. About how much are you getting paid per month?
Like 3,000.
Okay. Do you know if you'll still have that job once you're released?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So based on what you provided to me here today, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. And so if you would like to assist an attorney to assist you, at least at this point, you would have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I believe that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
Say April 24th.
Yes, sir. April 24th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I have Mr. Nicholas Dawson. Good morning. You Mr. Dawson? Yes?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, sir. Mr. Dawson, you're charged with 1 count of battery, 1 count of criminal trespass. As to the battery, your bond is $5,000. As to the trespass, it's also $5,000 for a total bond of $10,000. If you are released, you do have special conditions, and that is to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Ania Porter, to stay away from the address 503 Fieldstone Parkway. Now, sir, if that's where you live, if you're released or when you're released, and you have items there you need to get, please don't go on your own. Please get the sheriff's office. They will assist you, get any items you need unless and until your bond is altered. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Can you read the bond charges one more time?
1 count of battery, 1 count of criminal trespass, and $5,000 for each for a total of 10.
Okay.
All right. Are you working right now?
Yes, I'm a business owner and I got a couple different things going on. And
What kind of business do you own?
I have a luxury car rental business.
And about how much are you making per month?
About anywhere from 10 to 15,000.
All right. So based on that information, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney at this time. Now you are charged with all misdemeanors, so you have the right to either have your preliminary hearing or waive your preliminary hearing. Would you like to have it or waive it?
Waive it. I don't necessarily need it.
Okay. So I'm going to put down you're going to waive your preliminary hearing. So they're going to have some documents over the jail for you to sign. In the interim, if you do make your bond, please make sure that you give them a new address so that you can find out and keep in touch with when your next court date is going to be, okay?
Yes, sir. And I have a question. So I spoke with Sheriff Allen yesterday.
Yes, sir.
He's supposed to be released yesterday evening. He called my girlfriend, my family, and everything because he read over my statements. Clayton County Police Department came because of a call from one of our
Okay,
neighbors.
okay, hold on. Don't get too far into what happened.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
not part of what happened,
yeah.
but the sheriff gave me an OR. And
So I will tell you this, we do work hand in hand with the sheriff's office, but my job is to set the bond. So right now that bond is what I told you it is. So I have not been given any other information. So, if that bond is altered, it'll have to be altered before a judge at a later time, okay?
okay, that's fine.
All right, thank you,
I
sir.
can pay the bond today, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Next up, I have Mr. Chris Julius Irvin. Mr. Irvin, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of felony murder, 1 count of robbery, 1 count of possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. I am not on the murder charge permitted to grant bond here today. And then as to the 3 remaining charges, I have denied your bond. And so that's where we are on that right now. I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney here at least for the purposes of today. Now, because you are charged with felonies, your next court date is going to be your preliminary hearing, and that's going to be April 24th at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir? Do you have any questions about anything? All right, good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Mr. Jordan Floyd. Are you Mr. Floyd?
Floyd.
Hi, are you Mr. Floyd?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Floyd, you are charged with DUI, alcohol less safe. You are charged with speeding, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana, and drug-related objects. As to the DUI, your bond is in the amount of $2,500. As to the speeding, it's a bond amount of $500. The marijuana, $1,500, and the drug-related objects are, let me correct this. Drug-related objects should be $500. And so that's going to bring your total bond here to $3,000 to $5,000 total. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. I see that you are currently working, and based on the information you provided, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. And so you will have to, hire your own. Now, because you are charged with only misdemeanors, you have the right to either waive your hearing or have your hearing. What would you like to do? Your preliminary hearing. Okay. So I'm going to put down here that you've made the decision to waive it. And so if and when, Mr. Floyd, you make bond, as I told everyone, please make sure you keep in touch with your mail so that you know when your next court date is going to be, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I think I have Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Mr. Garcia is one of the ones that need a Spanish interpreter. y'all.
Okay, so we'll put him at the end as well. Next up, I have, is this Mr. Glenn, Mahmoud Glenn?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Are you Mr. Glenn?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Glenn, you're charged with 1 count of criminal damage in the second. Your bond is in the amount of $3,000. See that you are not working right now, so I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney today. You are charged with a felony, sir, which means you are going to have a preliminary hearing date, and that's going to be April 24th, 2023. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Your Honor.
All right, unless you have any questions for me, sir, that's all I have for you.
No, sir.
All right, good luck to you. Next, I have Mr. Kevin Gonzalez.
He's also needed a Spanish interpreter, Your Honor.
Okay, next up, I have Elijah Gregg. Are you Mr. Gregg?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gregg, you're charged with one count of loitering or prowling. You have a preset bond in the amount of $1,000. You're not working, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So I am gonna appoint you a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with a misdemeanor, you have the right to a preliminary hearing, or you have the right to waive it. What would you like to do, sir?
Would like to waive it.
All right, so I'm gonna put here that you are waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. So if and when you make bond, sir, please remember to keep in touch with your mail so that you know when your next court date is. Good luck to you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Chaz Hall. Now, Mr. Hall, you are charged with several counts, the first being theft by shoplifting in the amount of $2,000 bond. The next is a VGCSA in the amount of $3,500. Another count of VGCSA in the amount of $3,500. You have 5 counts of theft by shoplifting. Each of those is in the amount of $2,000 and one is in the amount of $3,500. You have 1 count of obstruction of an officer for $2,000, and then you also have VGCSA for $3,500, and finally another VGSA for $5,000 for a total bond of $38,000. You do have a special condition, and that's to stay away from 1000 South Lake Circle. That's the South Lake Mall. Do you understand that? Okay. I see based on the information I have here that you are not working. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here today. Now, because you are charged with a felony, you will have a new court date, which will be April 24th of 2023. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that? All right, I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you. Next up, I believe I have Kenneth Hermans. I'm sorry, Mr. Hermans, give me 1 second, please.
Well, that's what the police officer, they have what the police officer, and because the police officer was dead, that's why, that was the whole reason why I couldn't believe this. Police officer, whatever I'm at.
All right. So, Mr. Hermans, you are charged with, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hermans, you are here on a fugitive warrant. So, Mr. Hermans, I'm gonna have to hold you to the end. I'm gonna call you up a little later.
Okay.
Yes. Mr. Diego Hernandez, deputy, does he speak English?
Hernandez?
Yes, it looks like he does.
No, he's one that need a special interpreter as well.
Okay. Next up is going to be then Mr. James Higginbotham. All right, good morning, sir. You Mr. Higginbotham? All right, so Mr. Higginbotham, you are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. So your bond amount is going to be $2,000, okay? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning. Now, you have a right to have a preliminary hearing or to waive your preliminary hearing. What would you like to do, sir?
I don't understand.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do just to protect you is go ahead and assign you a preliminary hearing date. That's gonna be April 25th of 2023. They're gonna do that via Zoom at 8:30 a.m., okay? So that'll be your next court date if you don't make your bond, okay? All right, Mr. Higginbotham, you have a good morning. Next up, I have Daniel Howard. Daniel Howard. Are you Mr. Howard? Mr. Howard, I have you charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct. Your bond is in the amount of $1,500. You do have a special condition, that's to stay away from Swint Elementary at 501 Highway 138. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, but I paid my bond already.
Okay, well then you should be released here after we're done. Based on the information you provided, sir, you do not qualify for court appointed. As far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have it or waive it?
I guess, I've already paid my bond, I'll waive it.
Yep. If you're for sure know you paid it, then it will automatically waive. So I'm gonna put that as well. Unless you've got any other questions for me, sir, that's all I have for you.
No, that's it.
Thank you. Next up, I have Derek Jeter. Are you Mr. Jeter?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jeter, you are charged with possession of illegal drugs, or excuse me, illegal items here in the jail. Your bond is the amount of $5,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
This has been a mistake, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I was in court with.
Hold on. I don't want you to tell me about what happened. I don't want, because this is being recorded. Your next court date, sir, and this is where you'll talk to your attorney about that, because I've assigned you a court appointed, is going to be April 24th of 2023 for your preliminary hearing at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that? Now, do you have any questions about your prelim? I understand. I know you want to talk about it, but I can't. And trust me, you don't want to. This is being recorded. You got witnesses around you. So last thing you want to do is say something that may hurt you while other people are listening. Do you understand? So I'm doing it to protect you. Okay? So just hold it in until you get to your attorney, okay? I know. I understand. But just make sure you speak to him or her, okay?
Was freed this morning.
I'm sorry.
I was freed this morning. I was free.
Yes, sir. I hear you.
I shouldn't be here.
Yes, sir. Well, make sure you speak to your attorney about that, okay?
How many days away is that?
Well, so your hearing is on the 24th, but you'll be assigned by Monday. Now, how quickly they get to you, I don't know the answer to that. That's with the public defender's office. So you'll have to speak to them. It's the Clayton County Public Defender's Office if you have an opportunity to call them. All right, good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Mr. Jerome Johnson. Are you Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johnson, you're charged with one count of arson in the first. Your bond is in the amount of $10,000. You're charged with unlawful conduct during a 911. Your bond there is $5,000, and a false fire alarm. Your bond is $5,000 for a total of $20,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you working right now?
No, sir.
Okay. Based on that, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with the felonies, your next court date is going to be your preliminary hearing. And that's going to be April 24th of this year at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that? All right. Unless you have any other questions for me, sir, I believe that's all I have for you. Next up, I have Mr. Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones.
Your Honor, Mr. Jones is not showing he's in the facility. Mr. Jones, Mr. Knight, I got.
Okay, so he may have been released.
Yeah, they may have been released
Okay.
last night and then early this morning.
Let me put that.
Yeah, so I have Mr. McGee coming up right now, y'all.
Oh, okay. And you're Mr. McGee? All right, give me 1 second, sir. And that's Reginald McGee? Okay. Mr. McGee, you're charged with one count of giving a false name and one count of obstruction of an officer. The false name charge carries a bond of $2,500. The obstruction also carries a bond of $2,500 for a total bond of $5,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir? Based on the information you've provided, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with misdemeanors, you have the right to have your preliminary hearing or waive it. What would you like to do, sir? Okay, so your next court date, should you not make your bond, is going to be April 25th at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that? All right, unless you have any other questions for me, I believe that's all I have, sir. Good luck to you. All right, is Mr. McCray or Mr. McDade available, or they?
Yes, I have, McCray right here.
All right, Mr. McCray.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. McCray, you're charged with one count of tenant window, one count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your tenant window bond is $500. The VGCSA is $3,500. You're charged with one count of possession of drug-related object. That bond is $500. And 2 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, each bond being $8,000. And so that brings your total bond to $20,000. Are you currently working, sir?
Yes, sir. I've been on my job 4 years.
And what sort of work do you do?
I work for DHL, stand-up forklift. I work in the freezer. I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 12 hours a day. And I work during the week overtime. I've been on my job 4 years.
And about how much are you making per month?
I make about $4,500 a month.
Okay. So based on that, sir, you do not qualify for court-appointed attorney, so I'm not going to be able to appoint you one here today. So you will have to hire your own. Your next court date is going to be April 24th of 2023, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be via Zoom for your preliminary hearing for these charges. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I have one question. Based on the bond that you said, if I go through a bonding company, is that like 10 or 15%?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That's absolutely correct. All right, thank you. Next up, I have Mr. McDade. Are you Mr. McDade?
Sure.
All right, Mr. McDade, you are charged with one count of improper or erratic lane change, bond of $1,000, reckless driving, a bond of $5,000, failure to use your signal, a bond amount of $1,000, possession of a firearm by convicted felon for the bond amount of $10,000, DUI less safe, $15,000, child endangerment, $2,000, no license, $1,500, and possession of a firearm by convicted felon for $10,000. Your total bond amount is, give me 1 second. $44,500. You're not working, is that correct?
40, how much?
40,500. Are you working right now? Mr. McDade, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I said, no, sir.
Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney that will assist you with your case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you are charged with felonies here. So your next court date is going to be April 25th at 8:30 a.m., okay?
So they charged me with 2 firearms.
Right now, you're just charged with 1. Actually, 2. Yes, sir. You're charged with 2. That's correct.
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Next up, I have Mr. Brian Peralta. All right, Mr. Peralta, you are charged with following too closely and 1 count of no license for a total bond of $1,000. Do you understand that? I understand you're not working, so I'm going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning. Because you're charged with misdemeanors, you have the right to your preliminary hearing, or you can waive it. What would you like to do?
Can you repeat that?
Because you are charged with misdemeanor, you have the right to your preliminary hearing, or you have the right to waive it if you'd like. So I'm asking, what would you like to do this morning?
Not waiving.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Not waiving.
Okay, so you do want to have it then. So if you want to have it, your next court date is going to be April 25th. And that's going to be on this year, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that? So if you don't make bond, that's your next court date. If you do make your bond, please just make sure you watch your mail for your next court date, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Next up, I have Mr. Dustin Ramey.
Sir.
Mr. Ramey, you're charged with 1 count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act for a bond in the amount of $3,500. one count of giving a false name for the bond amount of $1,500 for a total bond of $5,000. Mr. Ramey, are you currently working?
No, sir, not right now. Technically, I'm trying to build a business up, but so.
Okay. So I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning, and your next court date is going to be April 24th of this year at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom for your preliminary hearing, okay?
Do I have any holds or anything like that?
I'm sorry?
Do I have any holds?
Not that I saw, no, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you. Next up, I have Mauricus Riddles.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Riddles?
Sure.
Mr. Riddles, you're charged with one count of a possession of a legal object here in the jail. Your bond amount is going to be $10,000. I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney for that particular matter. And your next court date is going to be April 24th of this year at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Manuel Rosa. Manuel Rosa.
All right. Hey, Mr. Rosa, right here.
Are you Mr. Rosa?
No, stand back. You don't gotta be so close. Stand back.
Are you Mr. Rosa?
I don't know about the mister. I'm Rosa.
Okay. Give me 1 second here, sir. I'm just getting your paperwork here. All right, so, sir, you are charged with one count of DUI and one count of open container. Now, Mr. Rosa, the information that they provided me, I don't believe was enough to hold you on the DUI, so I have dismissed it. Doesn't mean it can't come back, but for today's purposes, I have dismissed that count. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
So the only remaining charge you have right now is a no license for $500, okay?
I'll be okay.
Now, if you're unable to make that bond, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. So if you don't make the bond, you will have an attorney to speak to you about it, okay?
I don't have the bond with me.
And I understand that, but what I'm talking about is if you need assistance on your case, you'll be able to get an attorney for free through the county, okay?
Okay.
Now, do you understand what a preliminary hearing is? Do you want to have your preliminary hearing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and assign that for you. That's gonna be April 25th of 2023, and that's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
I need something right, so,
If you ask one of the deputies, they should be able to assist you with that, okay? All right, sir, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next up, I have Mr. Mikhail Sassafras. Or Mr. Michael Sassafras. Thank you, Mr. Rosa.
Thank you, sir.
Are you Mr. Sassafras?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So you're charged with one count of an illegal object in the jail. Your bond amount is $3,000. I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning. And your next court date is gonna be April 24th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. and that's gonna be via Zoom, okay?
Yes, sir. Hey, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
You know, my other charges, my bond ain't get denied on that, did it?
Those I'm not aware of. I'm not sure. I saw them, but it didn't tell me what your bond is.
I'm saying, like, I still got that bond, the same bond, right?
At this point, yes, sir.
All right.
All right, thank you. Next up, I have Todd Serre, S-E-R-R-E.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're charged with possession of a legal object here in the jail. Your bond amount is going to be $10,000 for today.
Did they prove it?
I'm sorry?
It looks like it's been there for 10 years.
No. Let me ask you, are you you said you're working? Oh, okay.
The metal bar. Yeah, I've got to report back to work to Chris McCreevy in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay. So I'm gonna appoint you an attorney to help you out on your case.
Thank you.
Okay.
Granted, grant me that.
Okay. And your next court date, sir, is going to be April 24th of this year at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Okay.
When I return, what court do I return to?
It's going to be Superior Court.
Is that within this city? What city is it? Is it Clayton County?
Yes, sir.
What's the actual name of the city? Is it Clay?
Huh?
The city that I'm residing in right now, is that Clay City?
Yes, sir. This is Clayton. Yes, sir.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I've been moved.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Next up is Mr. Foster Shelby. Mr. Shelby, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. Your bond is in the amount of $15,000. You do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from Miss Deasia Pruitt, the address of 8091 Piccadilly Court, where the incident was alleged to have happened. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And from what I can see here, you are not currently working. So I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney. And because you are charged with felonies, your next court date is going to be April 24th of 2023. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that? All right. Good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Shane Tackett. Are you Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Tackett, you are charged with also possession of an illegal object here in the jail. Your bond amount is $10,000. I'm showing you're not working, so I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you were charged with a felony, your next court date is going to be April 24th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, all right? All right, good luck to you, sir. All right, Mr. Marco Cadenas. Mr. Marco Cadenas is up.
I ain't had no business.
Are you Mr. Cadenas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Cadenas, I had a chance to review your documentation and discussed and reviewed this case, looked over your history or lack thereof, and based on some information that I was able to obtain, I am going to release you later today.
Okay.
I see you are working right now, so you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. These are misdemeanors. So you have a right to a preliminary hearing or you can waive it. What would you like to do, sir?
If I bond out, I wanted to waive it.
Okay, all right. So you will have some documentation then that they will have you sign shortly on your case, okay?
You said something about me being released today. What do you mean by that exactly?
You'll see, sir. Based on some information I have, they're gonna release you today.
All right, will I have to contact anybody or?
No, sir.
Yeah. All
All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you. All right. Deputy, if you give me a couple minutes, do you have a preference to do the fugitives or the Spanish speaking first?
Whichever one is better. I guess you would have to call for Spanish interpreters. I guess.
Right, that's why I'm inclined to do the fugitives first. Give me one moment, let me get their documents together and we'll do them next.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yo, man. Hey, man, pictures. Come on. Have a seat. You need a Spanish interpreter? You need English?
Yeah, I could take all the mail.
Cardenas, we'll go back to the house. It's just like, it's a. But it's just more like, it's more of the like. It's basically like, you know, I guess the officer that.
All right, I'm deputy. I'm ready when you are. So I should have.
So Mr. Pitcher, he's also need a Spanish interpreter as well.
Okay. So English speaking, then I should only be two, Mr. Kenneth Hermans and Adrian Yeomans.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if I could have both Mr. Hermans and Mr. Yeoman
That's Senator Burton.
step up.
Side to side, side to side. Yeah, side to side, side right next to you.
All right, so Mr. Hermans and Mr. Yeomans, can you both hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's just like.
You can hear me as well, Mr. Hermans?
There it is.
All right. So again, obviously, I think you all know why you're here. This is what's called an extradition hearing. You both have what is called a fugitive warrant, which has been issued for your arrest. Doesn't mean that you have charges here in Clayton County. Essentially, what this means is you have charges in another state, typically. And as a result of that, you were picked up here in Clayton County, either because of a traffic stop or someone saw your ID and this popped up. And so as a result of that, in accordance with the laws of the state of Georgia, you were brought before me for an explanation of what's going to happen next. Now, again, there's an allegation that either one of you or both of you has committed a crime in another state. And as a result of that, you have the right to contest the legality of the warrant in those extradition proceedings, or you can waive your right to the extradition proceeding and voluntarily be returned back to the state that's requesting you to your detention. So as an example, let's assume one of you all has a warrant for your arrest for DUI in the state of Florida. That warrant popped up, someone here in Clayton County saw it and arrested you for it. Now, because of that warrant, it is the job of the law enforcement to send you back to whatever the state that has the warrant against you. So you can either, one, waive your right to this extradition hearing, which will be appointed to you down the road, or you can have that hearing, in which time you're going to argue that, hey, you don't have a right to go back. Now, let me be clear. If you say, I want to have this hearing, Judge Thor, this isn't a hearing about the legality of your case. It isn't a guilt or innocence. This is just about, were the proper procedures taken and is the warrant valid? Okay, that's what you'd be contesting, not the case. You wouldn't be saying, well, I'm not guilty if you say you want to contest it. Again, if you say you want to waive it, then what will happen is you will immediately be returned, back to the state where the warrant is out of. Now, as a part of this, let me go through a couple of things you have the right to a couple rights you have before you decide what you want to do. Now, if you choose to not waive it, you do have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, we the Clayton County citizens will have one appointed to you to represent you. If you desire to contest the legality of your proceeding, your extradition, then you must have or have the attorney file on your behalf a document called a writ of habeas corpus. You may file this writ to contest his extradition. And again, the only things you'll be contesting are the documents on its face and whether the charges are appropriate, okay? Not the actual guilt or innocence. I want to make sure that I reiterate that to you. I know sometimes that can be confusing to people.
Could I explain myself, please?
I'm sorry?
Could I explain myself?
You said, can you ask a question?
Could I explain myself?
No. We would do that. The county will get in touch with wherever that warrant's out of, and then they will actually come pick you up.
Okay.
Okay. Now, a couple other things. If you waive your extradition, so let's say you say, I'm going to waive this hearing, then that means the state where you're supposed to go back to, they're on a time limit, they're on a clock. So that means they've got 30 days to come get you. If they don't come get you in that 30 days, you'll be released. Okay. So again, if you say, Judge, I don't want to fight this extradition, I'll go ahead and waive it. That means whatever state that's looking for you, they know you're here. They got 30 days to get you. If they don't, Clayton County will release you. And if you say, Judge, I want my hearing, I want to contest this extradition, and you state that you want to do that, then your hearing will happen within these next 30 days. Well, we'll try to have in these next 30 days, but at most it may take up to 60 days before your hearing actually happens. All right. So you either have two options: waive the hearing, then they've got 30 days to come get you. If you say, Judge, I don't want to waive it, I want my hearing, then we've got 60 days to get your hearing done, or the county will release you. So, Mr. Hermans, I'm going to start with you. Of course, as I said, you do have a warrant out of another state. So, of course, right now you do not have a bond. What would you like to do? Would you like to waive your hearing or have your hearing?
I would like to go back to the, I don't know,
Can you say that one more time for me?
or something like that. I don't understand you, because the first time I never read.
Them ask if you want to waive it or if you are,
Waive
you
it.
stay here.
So you want to waive it? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to make sure you understand that. So what's waiving is going to do, that means they've got 30 days to come get you on that warrant that you've got. If they don't come get you in 30 days, you're going to be released. Do you understand?
Okay.
All right, so what's going to happen is I'm going to sign some paperwork in a couple minutes, and then I'm going to send it over there, and then you're going to sign it too, okay?
So I can explain myself.
But no, you don't need to.
Wait, hold on. Your Honor, hold on. Excuse me, Your Honor. I got the fugitive waivers for them to sign.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what I'll do is I won't send my copies over. I'll wait till you send those and I'll sign those then.
Okay, no problem.
All right, so Mr. Herman, that's all I have for you, okay? All right, so Mr. Yeoman?
Yes, sir.
Same for you. It seems like you got a pretty good hold on it. So you, of course, have that warrant as well. So right now, you do not have a bond. How would you like to proceed? Would you like to contest, or would you like to waive your right and send you back? Looks like you've got a warrant out of Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida.
Yes, sir. This has now been brought to my attention after I've already bonded out here in Clayton County. My only concern is the fact that I'm a business owner and I have a family at home, so I'm the breadwinner. Is it possible for me to receive an electronic monitor or anything of that nature?
No, sir. Unfortunately, I don't have the authority under the laws here in Georgia to do that. So the best I can do is tell you, and I can't really give you advice, but you've got two options. One is to waive it. They've got 30 days to come get you. If you don't waive it and you want to have your hearing, you've got 60 days for us to have that hearing for you here.
Now, at any point throughout those 30 days, could it be potential for me to go home at any given time?
No, sir. No, sir.
Exactly 30 days.
Yeah. Well, not exactly. No, it could be less. If the sheriff's office over in Broward County comes earlier, they could come quicker than 30 days. They may come in 5, they may come in 10, but they've got to get here by 30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if they don't come?
Then you're released. You'll be released.
And that'll be 30 days.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you'll have the same then. You'll have the opportunity to sign that paperwork. I'll sign it. And then we'll move on from there, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Just Marcus.
All right, deputy, give me a couple minutes here. I'm gonna call the language line for the other gentleman.
Oh, yeah. I gotta let you sign. No, 30 days from today. They got 30 days to come and get you. On that 38th day, if they don't come and get you, you're gonna be released. That's right. Yeah. Oh, come on, you man. Oh. On each paper. Yeah, sign the name on each paper. Slide down. Siéntate.
Deputy, if I can, I've got them on the line now. If I could have up first, Mr. Diego Hernandez. All right, so Madam Interpreter, I have Mr. Diego Hernandez up at the podium. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hola, buen día. Yo tengo el día de hoy. Es un placer atenderle. Por cuestiones de entrenamiento y calidad de servicio, llamada por yeah, I'm ready to follow instructions.
Okay. If you would tell Mr. Hernandez, he is charged with 1 count of driving with no license.
Okay, señor, usted está acusado con un cargo de manejar sin licencia de conducir.
Okay. And his bond amount is $1,500.
Y su fianza es de $1,500.
$1,500.
$1,500.
Oh, okay.
Now, because he's not working, please let him know I'm going to appoint an attorney for him if he is unable to get out and pay himself out.
Yo sé que por el momento usted no tiene trabajo. Entonces le voy a asignar a un abogado para que pueda ver la manera de poderlo hacer.
Oh, pero pagando el bono hoy no me puedo ir.
So if I pay the 1,500, I can leave.
Yes, that's correct.
Sí, señor, eso es correcto.
Okay.
Okay, now, if you are unable to pay that money, your next court date will be April 25th at 8:30 a.m. Here online again.
Ok, señor, si usted no puede pagar, ¿no? Próxima corte será el próximo 25 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana. Y tiene que estar aquí puntual.
Ok, no, pero sí voy a pagar el bono ahorita. Lo van a pagar, pues.
Yes, they're gonna pay the amount right now.
Okay, all right. Well, in case they don't, that'll be your next day. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay. Y si en caso que no lo pagan, esa es su próxima cita. Que tenga buena suerte.
Sí, ahorita van a, ahorita ya han de estar pagando.
Yes, they are paying right now.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You acá.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Okay. All right. Next up, Deputy, if I could have Kevin Gonzalez. Madam Interpreter, if you would tell Mr. Gonzalez, he is charged with driving with no license and his bond amount is $1,500.
Okay. Buen día, yo soy su intérprete, señor González. Es un placer atenderle. Le menciono que tiene usted un cargo por manejar sin licencia de conducir y la fianza para que usted pueda salir es de $1,500.
Okay. Would you also let him know he's charged with one count of theft by receiving and his bond amount there is $2,000?
This is interpreter speaking. Can you repeat me the whole segment because my line cut off?
Yeah, yes, and that his second charge is theft by receipt of stolen property and his bond there is $2,000.
Okay, y también tiene un segundo cargo por la propiedad privada y ese es una fianza de $2,000.
Okay. And his total bond therefore is $3,500.
Y su fianza total es de $3,500.
Okay. I am going to appoint him an attorney to help him on his case. And his next court date, if he doesn't pay the money, will be April 25th at 8:30 a.m. online.
Ok, señor. Y si ahorita yo le voy a asignar un abogado para que le pueda ayudar con su caso. Si usted no puede pagar la cantidad. Y su siguiente sesión con la corte va a ser el próximo 25 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana en línea.
Una pregunta, ¿cuánto es el monto total para poder
I
salir?
have a question. How much is it? What is the total amount that I have to pay?
$3,500.
$3,500.
Ok, entonces voy a llamar para ver si la puedo pagar el día de hoy y poder salir.
Okay, I'm gonna call right now. If somebody can pay them today, so I can get out today.
Yes, that would be correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, sería correcto, señor.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, muchas gracias, señor.
Next up, I have Mr. Nicasio Garcia. Okay, Madam Interpreter, would you please advise Mr. Garcia he is charged with driving with no license for a bond of $1,000?
Bueno, señor Nicasio, muy buen día, yo soy su intérprete. Le menciono que usted tiene un cargo por manejar sin licencia de conducir, una multa de $1,000.
You are also charged with one count of improper lane change for $500.
Sorry, this is interpreter speaking. Can you repeat the whole segment, please?
You are also charged with improper lane change for $500.
Y también tiene un cargo por cambiar de carril sin previo aviso por $500.
Your total bond is $1,500.
Su multa total es de $1,500.
Okay. Now, I am going to appoint an attorney for you, and your next court date will be April 25th at 8:30 a.m. online.
Ok, yo le voy a asignar un abogado, usted no puede pagar la fianza, y su siguiente audiencia sería el 25 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana, pero en línea.
25 de abril a las 9 de la mañana.
8:30 de la mañana.
8.
25 de abril, 8:30 de la mañana, en línea.
Ah, ok. Pero si pago, no asisto, ¿verdad?
But if I pay, I don't have the next audience, right?
That's correct.
Sí, eso es correcto.
Ok, gracias. Sí.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. And lastly,
Okay, gracias.
last I have Mr. Montalvo Pitre.
Montalvo.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Pitre, you are charged with, well, excuse me, scratch that, Madam Interpreter. Mr. Pitre, you were picked up and arrested because you have a warrant for your arrest in another state.
Okay, señor Petre, usted fue arrestado porque usted tiene una orden de aprehensión en otro estado.
Now, because of that, Mr. Pitre, you have two choices here today. We can have them come get you, or you can tell me you want to say, contest their right to come get you.
Ok, señora, aquí tenemos dos opciones. Una, que yo les llame a los del Estado para que vengan a rescatarlo. O la otra, que usted me diga que se quiere quedar aquí y que aquí se le haga el juicio.
Okay. Now, Mr. Pitre, if you want them to come get you and they don't come get you in 30 days, we have to release you.
Ok, si nosotros pedimos que vengan por usted y no vienen por usted, en 30 días lo vamos a tener que dejar.
If you say to me, however, I don't want them to come get me, I want to contest the right to come get me at all, then we will have a hearing for you in 60 days.
Ok, y si usted decide quedarse y que ellos no vengan para que ustedes no vengan para que no vengan por usted, entonces va a tener una audiencia dentro de 70 días.
What would you like to do, Mr. Pitre? Do you want them to come get you in the next 30 days, or would you like to have your hearing in 60 days?
Señor, ¿usted quiere que venga por usted o usted quiere quedarse y que tenga una audiencia en 60 días?
No, yo quiero que vengan a buscarme con los 30 días, eso.
No, I want them to come and get me.
Okay, all right. So again, then, if they don't come get you in 30 days, you will be released, and we will have some things for you to sign today.
Entonces, el día de hoy vamos a solicitar que vengan por usted y que viene por usted, lo liberamos.
Ok, si en 30 días ellos no vienen a recogerme, me sueltan.
Perdón, señor, no me escuché. Señor, que no lo escuché.
Si ellos no vienen en 30 días, ustedes me sueltan aquí, ¿verdad?
So, if they don't come in 30 days, you release me, right?
Yes.
Sí.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Okay.
And that is the last.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, Madam Interpreter, I believe that's everyone.
That's the last one, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You
You too.
Bye.
All right, Deputy. Yes, that's correct. I believe that's everybody. Thank you very much, Deputy.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.